Welcome back to Bust Picks. It is an episode that I forgot the number of. I feel like
we're on 24.
24.
24.
Lucky
Jeff Gordon.
24. That's not. Is that the number 20? That's who comes to your brain when you think of 24, not Kobe Bryant?
No, I think Kobe, but I also think that we're going to focus more basketball than anything right now.
Uh-huh.
And I grew up a Jeff Gordon fan.
Isn't Jeff Gordon a
NASCAR?
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Shout out a different sport. That's why I was just like, it has to be a little bit of everything.
March Madness is here.
The madness already begins.
I'm locked in. Don's locked in. We're here. We're going to walk you guys step by step. We're going to talk about a bunch of games, a lot of teams. We're going to go through your bracket. We're not going to go through every single game. Me and Don picked out 16 games today that we're going to go through. We're going to talk about them, give them a couple, where we're leaning, and then we're going to end it with our Final Four, who we think ends up in the Final Four of the NCAA championship.
Yeah.
But first, all right, so there's two ways we can do this, right?
Okay. You can tell we are professionals.
I have the whole bracket in front of me.
Yeah.
I have spreads in front of me.
Sure.
Here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
For the quick games, we're just going to say the team that we think we're going to take.
Sure. If it's a toss-up, like within 3 points on the spread.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know the games that we're going to talk about. When we get to those games, we'll stop and we'll talk about them.
Sure.
UConn against Stetson, number 1 overall, 16 seed. UConn is minus 26.5.
UConn should walk through this game.
No problem.
Yeah, no problem there.
Now, 26.5, I might take Stetson. That's where I'm going to leave that.
Yeah, I would parlay that with another big
solid team.
Like another solid team, like a Longwood against Houston, and then just take it as a teaser. Get as many points as you can, because those kinds of 30-point games are rare.
They're beautiful. Let's talk about Florida Atlantic 8 seed versus Northwestern. Florida Atlantic is minus 2.5. Florida Atlantic was one of those teams last year that burst on the scene, had a lot of transfer guys, showed up in the championship, or showed up in the Final Four for the first time.
Yeah.
Had a fantastic season. Shout out to the boys. Now, have they been disappointing this year? 100%. But they're an 8th seed. They're here to go.
Yeah.
Some people say they're built for this run. How do you feel about them, Don?
I'm liking Florida Atlantic a lot in this from a numbers perspective. FAU is 76.7% when listed as a favorite in their last 30 games, 23-7. Consistently, they get a lot of tight wins. In their last 28, they've been able to be 23-5 when they're favored on the money line by 148 or less. 148 is the opening line for this game. Northwestern
it's exactly 148.
It's exactly 148. So that's why I was going through trying to look at their last game history there.
Yeah, 141 right now.
Okay,
141 and a half.
I'll even take that. I like that more. Northwestern, on the other hand, 6-5 on the season as underdogs, and they rank a lot lower in a lot of offensive categories.
Yeah, they're not the most offensive wise.
No, they're 171st in points per game.
But they play good defense, don't they?
They play okay defense. Okay. They are 295th in rebounds.
Yeah.
FAU's 85th. In 3-pointers, FAU's 89 or FAU's 73rd. Again, Northwestern is 89th. I just feel tournament games, you want to be able to shoot the 3 and get the boards, get those second chance points, and Northwestern doesn't scream like that team in this matchup.
I usually love to bet underdogs in games like this, especially early in the tournament. The 9 seed, usually we like to get there because it's supposed to be evenly matched.
Yeah, that 8-9 seed is a 53% NCAA history of the 8 seed winning, but it's almost a 50-50 toss.
I don't love when Northwestern's at. They have a couple injuries on their side of the court that I'm like, I don't think they're super deep either. I'm going to roll with Florida Atlantic here to continue on the trend.
Yeah, they should be able to clean up pretty well in my mind.
San Diego State -6 against UAB. San Diego State, one of everyone's favorite teams, another team just like last year, burst on the scene, had a fantastic March last year.
Yes, they did.
A lot of hype going into this year, had a lot of great transfers. A lot of people really expect them to have a bigger season. 5 seed. And then they're going to play UAB, which is every gambler's favorite team. Last year, a few years ago, Jelly Walker was the face of that team.
Yeah.
Now they have guys around in that organization. They just won their conference title. Mm-hmm. I can't get off of UAB.
I don't see how.
I know.
As everything says San Diego State.
Every metric.
Every metric. The stronger lineup, more upperclassmen. They come in with a lot more tournament experiences. They're more gritty defense.
They're very good defense.
I I understand that everyone. This is sharp money UAB.
Yeah.
It's become a big fan, like you said.
It's a huge favorite. The line has shifted.
The line, it's enough to shift. I think it was 6.5 when it opened.
It's still at 6.5. Though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I thought it was at 8.5.
It might have been 8.5 when it opened then. But I think San Diego State's primed for a first, second round run.
You think they're a Sweet 16 team?
No,
because they would have to play an Auburn Yale, who we both know Auburn is probably going to beat Yale.
Yeah, most likely Auburn's going to beat Yale there, but I like them to beat Auburn.
Wow,
I think that they could go through two teams here.
That's very impressive.
I think they're the defensive, the defense and the size is what impresses me with this team a lot.
I think Auburn's one of the most impressive teams I've seen, especially in the tournament last week, SC tournament. They're really, really good. They're a really good defensive team. I think they're built to have a collision course down the line against UConn later, but we don't have to worry about that until next week.
That's a few days away.
BYU versus. Could you pronounce this team? DeKest.
Oh, I think it's DeKest. Is it not? I've heard it pronounced a few different ways depending on who's saying it. BYU is just going to go.
Am I a casual college-based basketball watcher? For sure. I don't watch DeKest. I don't watch.
No.
I don't watch them. BYU though, I have watched BYU play. They love to shoot the three.
Yep.
I love those little Mormon guys. I'm going with them every single time, and I'm going to take the points minus 9.5.
It's not just that they like to shoot the three in my mind. It's the 3-point efficiency being
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's because there's teams who will like huck threes, and if you're only averaging 32%, that scares me in the tournament because that means you could go cold at any moment. BYU is one of the better efficiency rating 3-point shooters in the country. That's where I want to see. I want to see consistent performances week in and week out if you're going to shoot and live and die by the three.
Illinois versus Morehead State. Don, everyone loves Morehead. I love Morehead. How can you be against Morehead? Now, saying that, Illinois showed me a lot in the Big Ten championship game. They made big runs. They impressed me a lot. I knew they were good. I didn't think they were this good. I think the state of Illinois is going to be the thing that kills Morehead.
Yeah, probably. 11.5 point favorites here in this game. Where I'm kind of looking at this a little bit is actually for the over. Both teams combined, if you take their points per game average, they cover the line by 11.9 points overall. And also, Illinois games have covered 148 points 24 times this season. They consistently go out and put up big scoring games, and their defense allows a lot of points to be scored up against them.
I got to adjust that in the bracket because I wasn't ready for that. Washington State versus Drake. Washington State got together. They're like, I know the Pac-12's dying. We're not. We're here. The Pac-2. Washington State had a good season. Drake also very good.
Very strong season.
And I know a lot of people were confused. This is not the Canadian rapper Drake. This is a school that plays basketball.
I don't think anyone was confused. It's just 1-on-5. Drake is just going to be out there balling
It's
up.
just Drake in a Kentucky uniform, just balling.
That would be actually, I'd pay to see that.
Do you remember the highlights of Drake shooting with the Kentucky team and he's like missing everything?
Yeah, he couldn't hit a thing.
I love that highlight.
I want to see him play 1v5.
1v5 versus the Washington State. If Drake can score more than 15 points, they win automatically.
Exactly.
I love it. Drake is actually one of the few teams that are a 10 seed versus a 7 seed, but are favored minus 1.5 versus Washington State. I was leaning Drake this entire time. Line shifted. I'm moving to Washington State.
I'm liking Washington State. They've had better wins this season. They have beaten number 1 seed Arizona twice this year already. And then they're a top 30 KenPom rated team. Drake's outside of the top 50 at the moment.
Drake's always in the top 10 though. Like if we're being honest.
Yeah, they should be, but they're just this season. I feel Washington State, more things have gone right for the Cougars in a lot of ways, and them having more big wins on their resume makes me feel more secured in a big game.
You're a
matchup.
big win guy. You like to look at the big wins, right?
For college basketball, that's where I prefer to see, because that means you've already taken the pressure. March Madness, like a lot of these smaller schools either rise to the occasion or they shy away. If you've already been there, done that, you don't have to worry too much.
Washington State, I'm probably going to take a money line shot there because it's going to be plus money because they're underdogs. Iowa State, South Dakota State. We don't get to get into this. Iowa State, Transit. South Dakota State, you're a good shooting team, but come on, Iowa State's really good.
I think if they have a good outing, like I think they will, like they're not going to get close. Iowa State's going to handle here.
Yeah.
But if they have a good outing, it gives me a lot of hope for recruiting in the future, and they could go make a run in the next few years.
I think South Dakota will always be a place where you show up, show out, and then go get your money somewhere else to a bigger school.
No, probably, but you're going to have a lot of those guys who don't get the NIL deal somewhere else, and they'll make their way through that school, which gives a lot of potential.
North Carolina versus Wagner. Wagner won their game. They're playing bubble game.
Yes.
North Carolina, a lot of hype coming in for North Carolina. Minus 23.5 point underdogs. I might lay that line. That's how much I like this North Carolina Tar Heel team.
Yeah, Tar Heel. They're just
they're North Carolina.
Yeah,
What are we doing
UNC.
here?
It's hard to go against them for anything.
I'm so excited for this game. Mississippi State, Michigan State. Michigan State also a 9 seed with a favorite on it, minus 1.5 against Mississippi State. I watched Mississippi State blow a huge spread for me and my buddy in Vegas last weekend. I will never forgive them for this. This is their one shot to prepay me. I'm taking Mississippi State here.
I am as well. I know Mississippi State, their big issue right now is they are not a very strong free throw shooting team.
They can't shoot.
They cannot shoot.
But they play good defense.
They play strong defense. They are efficient on offense.
And Hubbard can he's a bucket. They have buckets.
They have those guys.
Yeah.
Michigan State, according to their S curve ranking right now, 5 spots higher than they should be.
Wow.
By a lot of the advanced metrics, they're being rated as they are the 4th most overrated team out of this entire tournament so far, and they are one of the higher seeds that are being overrated at the moment.
I'm thinking about taking Mississippi State and adjusting the points to minus 2.5 for Mississippi State just so I can get that plus number up.
I wouldn't mind that one. Yeah, that feels like a good line here.
Let's go St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. St. Mary's minus 5.5. The Big East, kind of a big headline. Only 3 teams got in. That was UConn, Marquette, and St. Mary's.
All 3 considered traditionally powerhouse teams when it comes to basketball.
There's another few schools that probably should have gotten into this tournament, like Providence or St. Paul's, but whatever. We're here. Saying that, I love what Grand Canyon can do. I love that they have firepower. I understand they're the sexy 12 over 5, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Give me plus 5.5. Give me the money line. Grand Canyon to win it.
I'm liking the 5.5 to go to St. Mary's because I think if they're able to shut down Grant Foster in this game, Grand Canyon's offense kind of falls apart. It lives or dies by one guy.
Yeah.
St. Mary's is a lot more balanced offense, a lot more balanced on defense as well. If they're able to do basically a box on one, this game shifts completely.
St. Mary's has a really low points per game. They're ranked 159th in the country. They play really slow pace. Grand Canyon is at 100. Here's the thing. St. Mary has 2 players out. Harry Weasels and Joshua Jefferson, a forward and a center. I don't know if this is going to affect them as much because those are guys that come off the bench. But I do really like the St. Mary's team. I just think Grand Canyon is one of those poised teams to make noise in the tournament.
It wouldn't surprise me in an upset. If I had to pick one, I'm going St. Mary's, but I wouldn't shy away from the upset here. It's just, I think the slower pace of play and you having bigger guys kind of leads to St. Mary's a little bit more.
Alabama versus Charleston. Charleston's actually one of these teams that a lot of people are kind of betting on to low key win, but I don't think so. I think Alabama has firepower. Minus 9.5. I'm taking Alabama.
Alabama, I think, shouldn't be this highly rated because they're
4 seed.
Yeah, 4 seed. I think they belong in a 6 seed personally. But that's not taking away that they have no defense. And that's why I think they're being overrated right now. Their S curve has them as a +1. If I remember correctly, they need to come down a little bit more.
You hate teams that live and die by threes. It's like a thing
I don't
for you.
mind live and die by 3 in college if you're able to maintain efficiency and that's not your only prominent stat.
That's
you need to supplement it in some other way. You need to be a great 3-point shooting team and a great rebounding team, a great 3 and a great assist,
or a great 3 and
free throw. You can't just have that
live and die by the 3.
Yeah, if that's your only source of offense or defense, efficiency is just a 3, you can go cold in your game shot.
Clemson, New Mexico. New Mexico has officially shifted to being the favorites, minus 1.5. This was my sexy underdog pick. I love New Mexico. I have New Mexico getting into the Sweet 16. I love what this team can be. They have flashy guards. They have tyrants in the paint. I love what they can do. Clemson, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Clemson. There's a chance Clemson walks out and surprises me. I know you have Clemson.
This is my kind of, and what got me on Clemson was the fact that the line flipped.
Yeah.
Because it's not often that the line completely flips in March Madness, which tells me either major injuries occurred recently, which there hasn't been as far as I know in the news.
Two Clemson injuries. Alex Hemingway and Boss Lafayette both are out.
Yes, but I don't remember where they are in the depth chart.
I'm not quite sure where they are in the depth chart.
I haven't watched, like, Clemson games aren't.
Here's the thing. Points per game, the Lobos, 21st in the country.
Yes.
They are very good defensively,
Yes.
23rd in the country, very high pace. The thing about Clemson is they are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the tournament right now. They're really good, and the Lobos are not great at shooting the three right now.
But
263rd in the country.
yeah, they're not able to keep up the firepower, and I think the Lobos as well don't really get to the arc to defend very well. They are an interior defense. They cover the mid-range
Yeah,
they cover the mid-range
defense.
strong.
Yeah, 3D.
I think Lobos, if they had a lot of other teams, could run it. This is a weird matchup where it could be pulled either direction. I like the plus odds in these kinds of close, weird situations.
I do say, like, now that Clemson is plus money, it does get a little juicy where you're like, well, I get a higher seed and plus money. You don't always get that. And
it feels like a game I could take a higher risk
Yeah.
because of the plus of if they go cold, sure, I only lose like a seventh of a unit versus having to put a full unit down on New Mexico.
Baylor versus Colgate. Shout out to the toothpaste company. They've now gotten their brand to 2 March Madnesses in a row.
I love hearing these crazy schools like that, like just these fun names, like
Schools that no one goes to. Like they have like a
No,
student population of like 3,000.
they are one of the better schools academia wise.
Probably.
Without a doubt. I do not want to like take that away, but this is the only time you ever hear about them athletics on a nationwide scale.
And Colgate, like, it'd be cool if they did what they did last year. I think people now know, they've watched the film.
Yes.
Baylor knows how to play.
You're not looking past them anymore.
Baylor's really good. They're a 3T for a reason. I'm taking Baylor.
No, Baylor's a grit and grind without a doubt. I don't think that they're going to look over a school that doesn't get national recognition like it has happened in the past.
Dayton versus Nevada. This is a team, Nevada, I was really excited to take. But once again, the line saw. Nevada's now the favorites at -1.5. Dayton having a fantastic season, but, like, I love this Nevada team. Am I drinking the Mountain West Kool-Aid? Because the Mountain West does this every year where they get a bunch of teams in and they disappoint and then you just stand there and be like, damn, I fell for it again.
This is New Mexico and Clemson matchup as well to me. This is that same kind of filthy, it's a weird, funky one, and it's the exact same metrics I'm looking at for Dayton here. Dayton is one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country.
They are 22nd in three-point shooting and 3rd in percentages. They are one of the best shooting teams in the country.
Nevada covering the 3 line, 299th.
Yeah.
They are not a team that can get out to the arc to cover very well. They are going to have to completely change their scheme of defense to catch up. That can happen.
Yeah.
But when you got 2 teams in the bracket that are both matched up this way, I'm taking plus odds. It feels like if one of them hits, it's free money.
We should do like a little like plus take the Dayton parlay, take Dayton and maybe the Mississippi State where they're both like underdogs, but we like the team.
Yeah.
Parlay it and like just walk away and just be like, we hit something crazy. You know?
I'm going to try to round robin these 2 and Clemson. And then also just take a teaser to get even more plus points on each of them.
I like it. One last game. It's Arizona versus Long Beach State. Look, we love Long Beach State. It's not too far from where we are. We have friends.
Fullerton rivals. They are the number 1 rival school
really?
for Fullerton. Yeah.
Well, shout out to you, dog.
None of us knew about it because like there is no real East Coast style blood
have a
rivalry
friend
out here.
that we live with that went to Long Beach.
Yeah. That's,
So, yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny in baseball that's the only time that rivalry comes up, really.
Arizona -20.5 point favorites. I'm not going to tell you go bet this line. I will tell you Arizona's going to win this. They're going to move on to the next round. And
Arizona should walk through, and I think Arizona lays the line. Like
think they cover
they
20.5?
think they cover. There's very few schools who come out of like because traditionally it's UC Davis, Long Beach, and Cal State Fullerton. Those are the 3 teams that kind of make it.
Irvine's pretty good.
Irvine does sometimes.
Irvine's good.
But they don't cover spreads very often when
Nah.
they get into this kind of situation.
Fullerton covered.
Fullerton covered, but
against Duke a few years ago, and I was like, I told everybody that.
but that was a
hammer.
backdoor last minute.
They covered by 1.5.
That's all that mattered.
Coach
But
K's retirement.
historically speaking, no, this division doesn't cover very often when they get these opportunities.
Houston versus Longwood, the West Division number 1. Houston versus 16 seed Longwood. Look, Don, we can make all the phallic jokes that we want.
Well, there was the weird stat where
Give it to me.
since 2021, there has been a upset of a phallic or like a euphemism school name
A penis
upsetting either a 1 or 2 seed. A 15 or 16 seed if they
So it
have
was
this
like
kind of name.
St. Peter's. It was
Oral
Roberts. It was Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yep.
And now people are predicting the Longwood
Longwood.
to do something. Now, do I think Longwood's going to upset probably the best defensive team in the country?
No.
No.
But do I think they could cover?
24.5?
That's
That's a different debate.
that
that's a
that
different
feels like
debate.
it. I honestly, this is one of
Listen.
those games I'd rather take the under more than anything.
I think the under is 127.5. I don't.
It feels so low.
It feels so dirty.
It
but
feels
this is also a
gross.
game where you're like, Houston could walk away at halftime. How good are you feeling if it's Houston 48 and Longwood has 20? You're not feeling great.
You're not feeling great, but you know Houston's just going to run out the clock and shut it down. They're going to take the shot clock every time to 7 seconds and then run a play.
I think I might lay the points with Houston. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nebraska, Texas A&M. Nebraska -1.5. This feels like a right line.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the most exciting games. There are some players on this Nebraska team that came out of nowhere. I had no idea who they were, and I got to watch them last weekend. They were fantastic. I love everything they're doing. Texas A&M played their butts off. They are one of those
Yeah.
teams that are just going to shoot it. They're just going to shoot it and shoot it and shoot it, and they're death by 1,000 bombs. Who do you like here?
I'm liking Nebraska a lot here.
So do I.
They win the close games. They have only seen 3 losses when favored by 1 point on the season. 3 losses and 16 wins, and are 15-1 when favored in their last 16 games overall. A&M, on the other hand, when they're dogs, they only have covered 5 of 6 on the season. They're not a very strong, and it's because they have to shoot to keep up. When you're in that underdog mentality coming
Yeah.
in, that does adjust your shot. You're going to put up more threes to kind of keep up in games. And even though they are a big volume shooting team, they lack that efficiency that I want to
Their
see.
true shooting is one of the worst in the country.
It is.
Their
And that-
true shooting is bad. The thing is, when they get hot and they're hitting, it's almost unstoppable.
It is, but I'm worried about the underdog mindset of Nebraska has won close games. They can get the win in close games. They're comfortable in close games. A&M, if they're going to come in and have to shoot to keep up, how much does that adjust your mentality?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Wisconsin, James Madison. Wisconsin -5.5 point favorites. James Madison having one of the best seasons you can in college basketball. They had big wins against Michigan State earlier in the season. They've been able to keep up this hype. Wisconsin did something crazy in the Big Ten championship, winning so much, getting to the championship, losing to Illinois by only a few possessions. I like this Wisconsin team. And in a perfect world, both these teams don't have to match up in the first round.
Yeah.
Because I really want to see both these teams in the Sweet 16. But there's something about James Madison that I get to root for. Something that I get to love. A
Sure.
12 seed over a 5 seed. A team that is genuinely good. Not just good for being a mid-major, good for being a basketball team. This is a Sweet 16 team written all over it. I don't care if they have to play Duke in the second round. I'm taking James Madison here.
I'm taking the money on Wisconsin in this one. James Madison does not have the wins that impress me. They have
One tournament win.
one tournament win. They only see 9 wins out of quad 4 teams.
Yeah.
Only 1 win outside of a quad 3 or quad 4 team. Wisconsin has the bigger wins. They've played the stronger teams.
Yeah, they've played really good.
They've played very well. James Madison does not have those kinds of big wins against big teams. That doesn't mean that they can't upset, but that makes me worried about their efficiency and their being able to stand in the big lights. If Wisconsin's able to minimize their turnovers, because they're averaging 9.7 per game right now, which is a lot. If they're able to minimize their turnovers and keep an offensive efficiency, they are going to handle this game.
Pretty much what I'm doing right now is I just want to. I have a glass slipper in my hand, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying on.
You're trying to find the Cinderella.
Every foot. I'm just looking for Cinderella, and this one fits good. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no,
it fits really well.
It does. It really does, and it has all the makings of it.
It's like, come on, James Madison, just put your foot. All right, cool. We're going to the ball. Let's go.
And it's a team I would like to see make the run.
I would love to see them
I
make the
just
run.
can't put my money on it.
And I would love to see them beat the next matchup, Duke versus Vermont. I mean, what is this matchup? Vermont, shout out to you. I bet you're a really good team, but you're playing Duke.
Yeah, Duke's just going to handle. Vermont, like it's fun seeing these kinds of schools because they can have that opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
But I wish it wasn't against Duke.
Yeah,
I really wish it wasn't
Duke
against
loves
Duke.
killing the mid-major teams. Texas Tech versus NC State. NC State being a team that rode the momentum, a team that shouldn't have even been in the tournament, stole a bid, got in, won the ACC tournament, one of the hottest teams, a team that I continuously bet against day in and day out during the ACC tournament. Texas Tech, very, very good team, playing in the most dangerous division in all of college basketball, the Big 12.
Yeah.
Don, who do you got here?
I like Texas a little bit more, but I'm loving the over more than either of the teams winning.
Over 145.5. I love this over.
I love this over. They're both dangerous offenses. They're both able to keep up in big games. Like these teams have.
How much do you take rest and momentum? Like Texas Tech lost early in their tournament. They've been able to get a few more days of rest compared to NC State, who just finished playing Sunday, like a few days ago. Do you think that's
more than enough rest?
You think so?
Yeah, I think if you're having more than 3 days, 4 days.
But do you think that kills the momentum of what NC State was?
No, because they're going to come in with that dog mentality.
Yeah.
Like you said, they were not supposed to be here. They got hot at the right time. I don't care if they've had a little bit of rest. They're going to come out, whether or not the momentum actually carries through in their game is different, but they want to come out with that mentality and come out hot.
I like it.
And I like the over because of that.
Kentucky versus Oakland. Oakland, I love you. I root for your sports franchises. I'm sorry that what's happened to you happens to you.
Yeah.
I don't think you get the upset against Kentucky here. I think Kentucky is one of the really good teams in the tournament this year that some people even have making the Final Four.
They're one of the powerhouse schools for a reason.
Yeah, and I'm taking Kentucky.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% there.
Florida versus Boise State or Colorado. We're filming this on Tuesday, so we don't exactly know who that is. I do think it's Colorado.
I agree.
You think it's Colorado?
I'm liking Colorado more and more when I'm watching them. That's just a filthy, filthy matchup because I feel like either team deserves the opportunity.
Florida has stolen my heart. I really don't want to be Colorado because I don't want to be stuck in that matchup. I don't want to have to decide between riding with the Pac-12 or riding with my Florida Gators because I really enjoyed what they did in the tournament. Saying that, if it does come down to that, I'm going to ride with Florida. I really like what they're able to do. I like this team a lot, and this is a team that I see. This is a team that I think is going to make going to make a Sweet 16 this year.
So Florida makes it into the big dance because I don't always count these initial games.
Yeah.
Like it's a part of the tournament, but
it's the tournament.
It's a part of a tournament.
It's the tournament. These teams work so hard to get to this point.
Yeah, no,
give them the initial they're in the tournament.
No, they're a part of March Madness.
Correct.
I don't think they're in the tournament. They're in March Madness.
You're right. They're not in the tournament.
So I think, but if Florida gets in, you're taking them to win this
Florida's
game.
In. It's between Boise or Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's between either, I still like Florida more.
Colorado's a really good team.
Colorado's a great team, but I just think Florida, coming off the rest, being able to plan a little bit more, and the fact that they've had a little bit, I feel, more experience in these kinds of games, it makes me just like them a little bit more in this this kind of matchup without knowing who they're going against.
Marquette versus Western Kentucky. I'm going to take a shot here.
Okay.
I'm going to make a moment right now.
Sure.
I think Marquette's one of the best teams in the country.
Yes.
I think Marquette can win a national championship. I don't think people would be surprised if Marquette was in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Western Kentucky's a really good team. Western Kentucky's a team that just won their championship, or their conference title. I love Western Kentucky here to upset. There's always one that shocks everyone, that breaks that busts the bracket.
Yeah.
I think this is where it's at. I think it immediately goes with Western Kentucky beating Marquette in the second day of the play. Second day.
Yeah, day 2.
Yeah.
I'm taking Western Kentucky to cover. on this. I think 14 and a half
14.5
is a lot of
A
points.
lot of points.
I like Marquette to win if you're going for bracketology here. They have the height advantage over Western Kentucky in a big way for the boards.
Team, yeah.
A very fast-paced offense where they're able to just outrun you. Size and speed is a very intimidating thing to go up against. Western Kentucky, I think, may have a shot at rebounding here and there due to Marquette's injuries so far.
Western Kentucky is the 21st best rebounding team in the country. They really don't beat Marquette in anything other than pace of play. Western Kentucky is the number one pace of play team in the country compared to Marquette, which is 152nd.
Yeah.
They're also 30th in points per game. Now, is their defense fantastic? No. But they're one of the best rebounding teams in the country.
Yes.
They do turn over the ball quite a lot, but their true shooting's pretty good. Offensive rating is not fantastic. They're a good team. Defensive rating is way higher than Marquette. I'm telling you, if there's an upset, this feels like the one no one's talking about that's ready to cook and pop.
No, that's why I'm taking the points.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe in the full upset considering Marquette just has these big games and they are a lot bigger, more physical team.
Yeah.
But I like Western Kentucky for the points. If it's going to happen, I want to be on the right side.
Last part of the bracket, it is Purdue versus whoever gets in. It doesn't matter.
Purdue.
Purdue. Purdue.
Yep.
This might be Purdue's year. So, all right,
I think they're the weakest number one seed out of the four.
Okay, so it's easy to say that because at the end of the game, it's just Zach Edey, and they're like, all right, let's play the foul game, get Zach Edey the ball, yada, yada, yada. If Zach Edey gets in foul trouble, that's always going to be the game plan to play against Zach Edey. Sure. Saying that, they have guards that are more experienced at this point. They're ready. Sometimes it takes losing in the tournament in embarrassing fashion a few times for your team to get to a point where they're like, all right, now we know what it's like to play in a tournament.
No, without a doubt. But I think the fact that they have a blatant target you can go after late in games, that you're painting a bullseye. And it's a bullseye.
But he's the best player in college basketball.
Oh, without a doubt. But considering that they have yet to figure out that deficiency, still
they're running through him.
If you're able to hack a Shaq,
that's what they do.
And you kind of have a big opportunity, and it's one that Purdue has yet to figure out.
Utah State versus TCU. TCU, the 9 seed. -4.5.
Yeah, this
heavy
is
favorite.
This is a fun little one in my mind.
Everyone says like there's no reason why TCU is even a 9 seed. Utah State. This is the Mountain West versus the Big 12. I think the Big 12 prevails here. I like the points. I'm taking -4.5 for TCU.
No, I am as well. I think they are very underrated in terms of their ranking overall right now. But I think this has a potential to be a fun game until the last couple minutes.
I agree. Gonzaga, McNeese State. A lot of people love McNeese State. A lot of people were taking, like, if there is the 12 over 5, a lot of people love taking 12s over 5s. It happens, like, mathematically.
It's the best odds for plus money.
Yeah.
Out of all the other number matchups, like the ranking matchups, this is the best odds for plus money.
Is this the quietest Gonzaga team in the past few years, though?
It feels like it, but I think
Drew
because...
Timme,
yeah, it's because they don't have the big star name,
and
they haven't done a big blow up in the last in the last season or two. This is just them just coming in to be consistent.
Points per game, they're 7th. They're a very good free throw shooting team, very good shooting team, period. But McNeese State, one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the country.
Yep.
Eighth in field goal percentage. Gonzaga's really good at rebounding. They're really good at defending. They're really good at shooting. I'm taking Gonzaga, period.
I'm taking Gonzaga, and this is what I was saying with the liver. This is where I'm saying with the live or die by 3 issue for me is McNeese State, great 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
Nothing else. Nothing else that worries me for Gonzaga. So if they slip up even in the slightest, Gonzaga's there. Just like they're too consistent of a team to let you win if you create a mistake.
Kansas versus Samford. Kansas has a couple injuries.
Yes.
We're not going to find out until game time whether Hunter Dickinson or other players are going to be playing.
I think, honestly, Dickinson might be out for the tournament. That's
he has
my
a shoulder injury.
That's my gut call as of right now.
I mean, it might be the tournament. If they lose to Samford, a lot of people like Samford. A lot of people think Samford has the ability to beat a Kansas that is this hurt. Samford, number 5 in points per game, 11th in pace. They are really good at free throw shooting. They're really good at 3-point shooting. 7th in the country. They rebound pretty well compared to like other teams, and especially if Hunter Dickinson, the starting center, isn't going to be playing.
Yeah.
Well, it's Samford. So here's what I'm going to say here. For your bracket, you should probably go Kansas.
I'm going Kansas, and I have Gonzaga beating them immediately after.
Okay. But if Hunter Dickinson's out, you immediately put a big unit on Samford.
Yeah.
That's the way I'm playing it.
No, I like that.
Okay.
Save if you're going to lose on your bracket, mitigate it by whoever's going to like Gonzaga has the next round shot. I think Gonzaga could beat either of these teams.
Yeah.
And then just go and take the plus money.
Remember, even if you pick Samford to upset, it's only an extra point on your bracket.
Yes.
Compared to like the multiple points you can get for Kansas going down in the bracket, like later and later.
Yeah, so just cover yourself
Yeah.
knowing what these injuries are.
South Carolina versus Oregon. Don, you've been talking about this Oregon team. You really like them. They ended up winning the Pac-12 championship.
Yep.
South Carolina, not a bad team either. They're very
they're
good.
not.
This is a toss-em game. It's 1.5 point spread. They're very good, both these teams. But I think we're both aligned. Oregon.
Yeah, I'm taking Oregon here. They are 6-0 in the first round since 2013.
You gave me a crazy stat about Oregon, and that was they have the most one-position wins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they lead the nation in single-digit wins on the season. 14 of their wins come with 10 or under. They're able to win these kinds of close games. They're very comfortable winning these kinds of close games. And 4 out of the 6 years that they've made it out of the first round since 2013, they end up in the Sweet 16.
Love it.
Like if they get hot, and they have considered like since what is it, the last 11 years.
Yeah.
If they make it in, they go for a short run.
Saying that, I think if South Carolina can get out of this game, they are a team that you don't want to see get hot. They are a team that could actually mess around and get to an Elite Eight. They're that good.
They are. What worries me is the neutral gains, the neutral site for them.
Yeah.
They are only 3-5 on the season. Or no, they have a -5. Sorry, my apologies. -5 scoring margin when they're playing on neutral game sites. They don't do well outside of their home.
Which is like, that's just college basketball, though, because
Yeah,
like, the
that's
environment
most.
is your home. But, like, yeah, that's also not a great stat that you want to see.
Yeah, you don't want a negative scoring margin when you're playing outside of your house.
3 more games. Creighton versus Akron, the home that LeBron built. Akron, a team that I was rooting against constantly during their conference tournament, but whatever.
Yep.
We can't always be right. I love Creighton. I understand Creighton's another one of these live and die by the threes.
Yeah.
The thing is, Creighton and KenPom have a beautiful relationship. They love each other. Creighton's a team that can mess around and make a Final Four, and that's what I'll say.
I like Creighton to win here. They have a decent 3-point shooting percentage. The majority of their volume and the majority of their efficiency this season has been mid-range.
Really?
Mid-range and a little bit closer to the basket. Akron, on the other hand, is one of the best teams at covering the three.
You're right.
But they don't cover the inside. They don't cover they only cover perimeter. They do not cover the paint very well. I think Creighton exposes this in this game. It's another weird kind of one of those mismatches. I think the opposite of what we see in the Clemson game, the opposite of what we see Dayton, is they're going to come out, they're going to protect, and Creighton's just going to dump it in.
So how do you feel about the 12.5 point spread?
12.5, I like Akron. I think they are able to keep
agree.
up.
12.5 is a lot of points.
That's a lot of points, but I think Creighton, considering they win 83% of their games when they're minus 800 or better, they should handle. I just don't like their spread.
Gotcha. Texas versus Colorado State. We just watched Colorado State blitz the Virginia Cavaliers.
Yes.
A game I did not expect to go that way.
No.
But Colorado State kind of getting hot at the right time. Texas, really good team. I've talked about the Big 12 being the best division in basketball. Is there an upset here?
I don't think there is.
Spread hasn't come out yet.
The spread hasn't come out yet because the game has
Literally ended like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, 15, 20
Yeah.
minutes at this point. I like Texas a lot in this situation because of how Colorado State won. Colorado State had won. Majority of their offensive capability came from backdoor screens to dump it in, which Virginia, for some reason, could not figure out how to win to cover.
Let's be honest. Virginia scored like 14, and they're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think because this win was so big, so convincing for Colorado, I'm worried that they're coming in with maybe a little too much confidence in what they could achieve.
They also have to like get on a flight, get down to Charlotte.
And they have
Charlotte.
a 2-day, 3-day turnaround now.
Not one day. They play Thursday.
Oh, I thought they had the Friday.
Nope.
Oh goodness, yeah.
Yeah,
This is Texas is able to sit back. They're already there. They get to watch film and they get to see this is how you do in a do or die game to get in. We know how to plan now.
Last game, Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's came onto the scene a few years ago, shocked the world. We gave the joke earlier. We gave the stat out.
Yeah, they were one of those since 2018, 2017
to mess around and make big plays in the tournament.
Yep.
Saying that, I love Tennessee. We're going to talk about Tennessee later. Tennessee is one of my favorite teams in this tournament. I've been riding them all year. This is a team that I expect to make big pushes, and I don't expect their train to end here.
No, I don't think Tennessee's runs out of steam here. I do think St. Peter's does keep up for a little while. They are... they're separated on 6 strengths and rebounds. They're pretty tight overall there. St. Peter's is the 12th best team in the country in limiting points. They have one of the best points allowed ratings out of every school that's playing so far. And Tennessee, they do cover a lot of spreads, but they only they're only seeing coverage on this volume of points 50% on the season. It's kind of a toss up on their side.
Yeah,
I like St. Peter's to buckle down on defense. They keep up on the boards. They might keep this tight.
Don, it's time.
Yes.
We're going to put out our Final Four.
Yep.
These are the Final Four. We're not going to give out a national championship.
No.
You can if you want. I just don't feel comfortable picking a national championship.
It's so difficult to. I'll say it. I'm liking UConn, but I hate that pick.
I think
it's not a pick that I'd like to go after.
Yeah, they're the number 1 pick team in the country. UConn is the number 1, and I'll start there. UConn is in my Final Four, and I have them playing the Arizona Wildcats.
We're neck and neck there.
Okay.
Then. Yeah, I'm liking the Arizona path a lot better.
I do too. I really like Arizona's path this year. I usually don't, but I'm here we are. And then in the other bracket, I have Houston winning, and I have Houston going up against Tennessee.
I hate you so much.
You have the same bracket.
I have the same Final Four.
Let's go, buddy.
I think Houston, considering how built they are on defense, they're going to be able to shut down almost anybody that gets thrown at them.
I think
there's
their
very
problem
few teams that worry me.
The teams that just get stupid hot, and they just... That's when, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, there's nothing, and you can't predict which team is going to get hot at any moment. And so I like to take the more consistent route.
I have UConn playing Houston in the national championship game.
I have UConn and Tennessee.
Okay.
Because I think Tennessee is able to beat and bang a little bit. Yeah. I like their length a little bit more, but I wouldn't be surprised with either of the two.
And I have Houston winning the national championship, mainly because Houston is in the toughest division. I've talked about it.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron. I think this is a team that's been flirting with a national championship. I think this is the first time where they get to go in and be like, well, we won it. Is it a little chalk? Did we pick 1 and 2 seeds? Sure, but we could have picked all 4 1 seeds.
No, I mean, that's the hard part about March Madness is even if it is a chalk pick.
Yeah.
That's who wins majority of the time.
Well,
there is going to be those upsets.
Last year,
except for last year was a freak outlier year.
Crazy year.
And what are the odds that 2 outliers happen back to back? I would love it if it happens.
And
I want it to happen. Don't get me wrong. I want it to happen.
Could have changed everything.
It could have.
And I know we just did 45 minutes of talking about every game in the March Madness tournament, but here's the honest to God truth. We're wrong. Because by, I don't know, 1 o'clock on Thursday, 7 games in, just like you guys, we will be texting each other going, wow, did you expect that? And he's going to go, Don's going to reply back, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
And by the time the Final Four does end up happening, I can guarantee you, I can promise you this. Our Final Four will not be in the Final Four.
I put money down. I always try to take the early prop of I pick my Final Four and I work backwards in my bracket based on that. And I always take my Final Four and put money down that they'll make it to the Final Four as a prop. And if I get one of them there, it's an accomplishment for me. That's what I'm shooting for. Good job,
buddy. Now, did I pick UConn to win the national championship last year? I did. I'm really good at picking national championships.
You do that pretty consistent.
Yeah. My brackets, they're just like everybody else. They die early, and then you just got to hold on to the 2 teams that you're like, I hope they get it. Tennessee was one of those teams for me last year. Texas was one of those teams for me last year. But thank you guys so much for listening to our March Madness episode. Of course, the madness doesn't stop here. We got another episode coming soon. But thank you guys. And remember, pray for the parlay.